Hello, today I'm back with a Versus video. This time we'll be talking about two metal classics from the 90s. And the albums we are talking about are Burn My Eyes by Machine Head and Cleansing by Prong. Both came out in the year 1994, which to me was a really great year for the world of rock and metal, especially metal. But with Machine Head, this would be their debut album, while with Prong, Cleansing would be their fourth album, if I remember correctly, their third or fourth, but if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it's their fourth. But either way, first album we're going to talk about is Burn My Eyes. So when it comes to picking a favorite Machine Head album, most people either pick either this album or The Blackening. Nowadays, I've noticed more people say The Blackening, from what I've noticed, but for me, I've always been more of a Burn My Eyes type of guy. With that said, don't get me wrong, I do love The Blackening. That's probably my second favorite Machine Head album. Well, second or third. More Things Change is also really good too, but this one has always been at the top for me. First off, I really dig the production from Colin Richardson, a producer who has worked with many bands that I enjoy, such as Trivium being one of my favorite bands. But yeah, the album opens up in a pretty strong manner with the first couple of songs with Davidian and Old, which are some of the fan favorites off of here. Davidian being one of their biggest songs, and then Old is probably a top 10, maybe top 5 Machine Head song for me. But you get some of the band's best deep cuts, in my opinion, on this album, such as songs like 1,000 Lies and A Nation on Fire, which I think is hands down one of their most underrated songs. And I also got to mention the album closer, Block, which might be a contender for maybe being my favorite album closer from the band. Definitely a contender. I really like that song a lot, especially rhythmically, one of my favorites on here. And yeah, absolutely love that song. Death Church is another one of my favorites. That's another standout in the album, I'd say. But yeah, with this album, of course, you do get some pretty good groove, such as in songs like Old and A Nation on Fire. But I do like the moments where they start to pick up the speed a little bit more, such as in a song like The Rage to Overcome. But yeah, front to back, pretty strong album. But yeah, also Rob Flynn, of course, I mean, the frontman of the band. I do like his vocals in the album. I know Rob Flynn seems to not be for every metal fan, but whether it be his views or his voice or his vocals or anything like that. But personally for me, I do like Rob Flynn. I did get the chance to meet him, I want to say a couple years ago, two or 3 years ago, something like that, through doing a VIP package, and definitely a pretty cool guy. I got a picture with him too, and yeah, Machine Head, definitely a great band, and this album again, definitely my favorite from them. But now let's go ahead and talk about the other album here. We got Cleansing by Prong. So with this album, this is probably their most commercially successful album, especially thanks to track number 3, Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck, which is of course their big song. But another thing you have to mention with this album is that it was also produced by Terry Day, which is definitely a big name when it comes to the world of metal, especially in the 90s. He's worked with many bands that I enjoy, such as Pantera, of course, Deftones. I think he worked with Limp Bizkit, if I remember correctly, and I know he also did an album with Unearth. And if you're familiar or a fan of metalcore, then you should be familiar with Unearth. But yeah, Terry Date, definitely a legendary producer, and yeah, this album's definitely great. I mean, now something you have to mention with Prong is obviously the frontman, Tommy Victor. Definitely has his own signature sound, and I'd also say the same thing with his vocals too. Once you immediately hear his vocals, you immediately know that it's him. And I'll also say the same thing with his riffs too. But yeah, I think this is definitely the band's best, though. I mean, they have other great albums too, like Beg to Differ and Prove You Wrong. I even really dug their latest album too, State of Emergency, which I think is their best since probably Cleansing. But yeah, back to this album. I mean, the fan favorites appear more towards the first half of the album, such as songs like Whose Fist Is This Anyway, and of course their big song Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck. The second half is where you start to go more into the deeper cuts, which I do like. When it comes to the second half, I really dig No Question. I think that probably has maybe some of my favorite riffs on the album. And of course, I also like Test. When I saw Prong live, I've only seen them once, but the one time I saw them, they opened up their set with Test, which I definitely did not expect. But yeah, I thought their performance was great when I saw them. But Test, definitely a great song. That's probably another one of my favorites on here. But yeah, just like with Burn My Eyes, you do get some good groove metal in this, such as in songs like Whose Fist Is This Anyway, and Another Worldly Device, and of course Broken Peace. But I do like the moments where the band picks up a little bit of speed, such as in a song like Cut Rate being the obvious one. But oh, and Out of This Misery is definitely another song that I think is definitely a banger off the album. Another song I have to mention here. But yeah, Cleansing, definitely a great album. But if I had to pick which album I like more for this video, I'm probably gonna go with Burn My Eyes. I feel that when it comes to a front to back album listen, I feel like Burn My Eyes is the better album. With that said, this album Cleansing is definitely no slouch either. Still a really great album, but I just feel like when it comes to front to back album listen, I do think Burn My Eyes is the better album. But yeah, both are great, and if you haven't heard of either, if you haven't heard of one of the two, definitely check out the one you haven't heard, of course. But yeah, those are my thoughts here. Let me know which album you like more and all the good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.